Rifftrax. I don't have a pick tracks, better riffs I'm missing. Why you always gotta pick Rifftrax? It's your lucky day, it's time for Rifftrax.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to episode 19 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed, where I take 5 Rifftrax shorts in chronological order, review them, and give them a rating between 1 and 5, with the points being good, great, awesome, fantastic, and spectacular, since I don't think a bad Rifftrax short exists. Once again, we have a pretty fun batch of shorts, so let's dive right into episode 19 of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed. Number 91, Pearl of the Orient, from June 17th, 2010.
Harvest time brooks no idle hands. These brawny young arms reap long hours.
Yes, work, you brawny 4-year-old girl.
Time for a good old-fashioned propaganda piece. In this case, we're being told that the war-torn Philippines are a great place to live and work. After being heavily bombed in World War II, this short was created to make the Philippines look great, at least to Americans. First, we're shown the beauty of the land, some festive folk dances and wedding parties, and the absolutely critical profession of rice farming.
The very, very huge, important theme music company presents...
Yes, the Philippines and their neighbor, Giant Hourglass Island.
Manila, Pearl of the Orient.
Master of Disaster, the Italian Stallion.
Not many years ago, they were fierce headhunters. But today they've given up that gentle sport.
Yes, the gentle sport of
Of
headhunting.
the warrior. When a Negrote marries, the groom flaunts his feathered crown and proclaims the traditional marriage vow.
In the West, it's known as the Funky Chicken.
Relatives
You can dance
and
if you
friends
want to.
show their
You can
approval
leave your
by joining
friends
the dance
behind.
around the pot of
A few mild concussions later, the ritual is complete.
This is why folk dancers starve. They'll get maybe 3 ounces of rice out of all this. 2 ounces.
and a family and rice.
Eaten together, they
Soon the
form a
tiny
complex
seedling
carbohydrate.
springs into, then the tough husks are pounded in a mortar and broken.
The crushed insects add flavor. It's lovely weather for a rice ride together with you.
Mother will relax and take her first rest in long months of toil and worry.
Don't hurry back.
Father
We now can see how the food is prepared at the local shops and stands. There's also another wedding, which seems more like a funeral to me, and we take a look at the bizarrely popular local, quote-unquote, sport of cockfighting. And of course, our riffers treat this sport with the utmost respect and maturity.
100 kinds are here for the buyer. Life centers
Tricksy
around the marketplace,
hobbits.
where gossip is a bigger problem than buying. Fish are so plentiful, customers
The
are
hell
hard
out
to
of here, you're in my
But not
shot.
to a fish fist. A poultry show? No, it's a cockfight. They're
Can they show that?
Not that kind.
In Mexico. Like boxers, their weights are checked before entering the ring.
If you want, Kevin, he'll check the weight
All
of your
right,
cut.
yes, thank you.
Betting, sheaths are attached to avoid bloodshed.
The last thing they would cheer about is a 3-inch blade plunged into the neck of the opposing chicken.
The spurs are fastened with an expert hand.
Yep, this guy has vast experience in tying things to his
All
cut.
right.
The groom joins the solemn-faced bride as the priest performs the wedding bond and asks for the blessings of Allah.
This is the last time you'll ever touch me, so get your thrills now, Casanova.
Painted bridegroom treats his guests to a one-man show.
Treat. Yeah. What a treat. I feel pampered here by this treat.
This effort at cultural manipulation gets a 4 out of 5.
So long, folks, and remember, cockfight with sheaths only.
Number 92, Individual Differences, from June 24th, 2010.
Let's see what would happen to just one pupil in this class if individual differences were ignored.
Why, the sun would cease to shine.
Who wants to watch an 11-year-old boy be scarred for life by the most cruel and insensitive teacher ever? If any of you actually said yes to this, please seek help immediately. Unfortunately, the entire first half of this short focuses on poor little Roy. On his first day of the 6th grade, his teacher, Miss Hart, recognizes him as she used to teach Roy's older brother, George. Since Miss Hart is a thoughtless sociopath, she does nothing but compare Roy to his older brother and mention how his brother was better at absolutely everything. It's honestly pretty depressing to watch.
But no amount of planning or preparation can completely fill in this chart ahead of time.
Really? No amount?
But an observant teacher would find many other differences. Some are aggressive.
Newton invented the calculus.
Leibniz did.
Die in a fire.
One or two are apt to appear delicate.
Like this fella.
I am Miss Hart, your new teacher. I hope we shall get to know each other very well.
I'm twice divorced and have a spastic colon.
In fact, I think I know one of you already. Isn't your name Roy Edwards?
And wet 'em.
I had your brother George in my class 2 years ago.
Shame about his arrest.
In fact, George was one of the brightest pupils I ever had. I know you will be too, Roy.
I'd advise against placing money on that.
Come to the front of the class, Roy. Don't be shy. Your brother never was.
This is pretty much how every day goes for Frank Stallone.
But Roy and his brother George are as different as day from night.
Owls are active during Roy, but not George.
George,
I am sure 20 minutes should be time enough for anyone to have read 6 pages.
Yeah, but Roy saw an apostrophe and got confused.
How far did you read?
2 letters into the word the.
How many found time to read the entire assignment?
Oh, I'm better than
I'm
Roy.
better than Roy.
Much better than Roy.
Time to read only 5 pages.
Me, I'm an idiot.
Slow.
And how many only study to page 23?
In other words, which of you is a Roy?
but she's learning the hard way. Hard on him, and hard on herself, too.
Yeah, she tore a rotator cuff
He's
while
more
whipping
frustrated than ever now.
There's absolutely no reason why you can't do this work. It's the same work your brother did when he was in my class.
He was blameless and holy.
You must take an interest in your work.
Roy can't hear a thing. The song
No,
"Do You Know the Muffin Man" is
I
running
think perhaps
endlessly in
you
his
should
head.
take part. Wouldn't be any good at dramatic. You see, you give up before you get started. You're not even trying. I'm sure some dramatic experience would be good for you, Roy. Beginning next week, I'm going to put you in the dramatics club.
But I don't want to be a homosexual.
Parents, feel free to throw peanuts at Roy.
His debut gets a Jar Jar Binks-like reception.
Yes, Miss Hart knows now that Roy is an individual.
A lame individual.
She is learning, as even parents have to learn, that any boy or girl must be treated as an individual.
And not a group, quorum, or throng.
Can this knowledge only be gained at the price of doing psychological damage?
Yes.
No.
Oh, damn it.
We then see that this has all been some kind of vision. This dark scene has all been set up so we realize the dangers that come with treating everybody as if they're the same person. Miss Hart then turns back time and shows us how she actually would have treated Roy. But it's too late. I already hate this woman with a passion, and it's too late to fix it now.
How I would really work with Roy. The right way.
Just need to get my cat o' nine tails.
I think that's important in a new class, knowing each other, don't you?
I'm a total enigma. Ha
In
ha!
fact, you look a great deal like your older brother, George.
Only far
I
less
had George in
attractive.
my
Wow,
class
what
2 years
happened
ago.
there?
Some of the differences between him and the other boys and girls are already obvious.
Debbie is clearly evil, for instance.
And this
A
makes
soulless
Miss Hart
killing
wonder,
machine, perhaps the most dangerous the world has
what
ever
are
faced.
The other
Keeping a neatly filed, up-to-date enemies list helps any teacher.
achievement test records tell her the extent of the pupils' accomplishments in the different school subjects.
Weaker students will be separated and warehoused in the sub-basement for the duration of the school year.
Anecdotal comments help to reveal various character and personality traits which have been noticed by previous teachers.
Harry survived an early encounter with a Dark Lord, but is
Sociograms
otherwise a terrible
illustrate the
student.
students, so standardized intelligence tests reveal the pupil's capacity of learning.
If that capacity is minimal, they'll be sent off to host entertainment news shows on TV.
That Roy's IQ is 92.
That of an average-sized
She
turkey.
has checked that Roy's reading ability is much lower than his brother's.
She's intrigued by the
Although
Cain
Roy
and
is in the
Abel
6th
potential
grade,
here.
Schoolwork is adjusted to individual abilities and needs.
Unfortunately, in her Talmudic-level research about Roy, Miss Hart has completely forgotten that she's also responsible for 137 other students.
What have you chosen to talk about?
My topic is on making maple syrup from the chapter on Vermont.
I chug an
learned
entire
that,
bottle every morning on account of my loneliness.
Everyone likes to succeed. Everyone needs to succeed.
Which makes Roy's story
And
all
success
the
in
more
school
tragic.
becomes possible.
We are organizing a new junior dramatics club.
It is a good place
I
for
remember
learning how to
George was
deliver lines in
president of the
a
dramatic
natural
club
and
2
pleasing
years
manner.
ago.
Yes, I've been playing the piano for years.
Ever
Mother
since I was
started me
replaced by a
when I was
Martian
7.
clone.
But already, Roy is on his way to becoming a happy, well-adjusted student.
As long as no one asks him to do schoolwork, takes away his piano, or makes eye contact.
Yes,
Miss
sweet
Hart has
Roy,
shown
play
us
my
how
dark
she
melody.
coped with the
Make the
problem of
parents forget what a
individual
bad
differences
teacher I am.
in one
A half-depressing, half-supposedly uplifting tale, the riffs really keep it strong, and it gets a 4.5 out of 5.
But there are thousands of classes with millions of students.
None of them as useless as Roy.
What can you...
Number 93, Whatever the Weather, from June 28th, 2010.
Here comes the wind. Off goes my hat.
Yeah, maybe the wind is making an editorial fashion comment.
This is one of those classic, has no evident reason for its own existence shorts. We join our rhyming narrator as he tells us of all the kinds of weather we can experience. And by all kinds, I mean rain, snow, and sun. There are also lots of long pauses on shots that I can only guess were from stock footage.
What do you do on a windy day?
And could I come along? I'm so lonely.
Somewhere, Charlie Brown weeps at their success.
It catches the flag as it flies on high.
But communist
Colors
flags make the
clear
wind
and
stop
free
and
against
cry.
the sky as it blows the boats across the bay.
And sometimes capsizes the boats,
It
killing
spins
all
the
aboard.
windmill, round
Dark
and
turn
round.
there.
And this is what we call whatever weather. The kind of weather that inspires farmers to go out to the barn to clean the shotgun and accidentally forget the safety is off.
To sum up so far, there is things.
Carol, ever had the urge to make bath time lots of fun?
Oh, quack!
And feel the rain as it blows in my face.
Why?
The showers they...
Okay, watching.
Think I've got it. Thanks.
Yep, we definitely know how this works. Yep.
Just set us free, you maniac!
My soul is frozen. I can't feel. Goodbye, dear friends.
Whatever the weather.
Watching,
Whatever
watching, and
the
watching.
weather.
Swift little stream.
As the short goes on, we realize that this is really about choosing the right hat for the occasion. Yep, at the end of the short, the narrator even asks us what hat we would choose for whatever weather is occurring. It's pretty random.
Orange and yellow, green, blue and white.
Huh. Flowers come in several colors, huh? Learn something new every day, guys.
Perfect. When you build a snowman, do you ever pretend the jolly old fellow is a real live friend?
You do? Then you're a freak. Freak!
Do our snows down on a carpet of flowers that burst into bloom after April showers?
Blooming flowers not actually depicted.
The
Mountains, one of the places where weather occurs.
children shout, "We like the sun," as down the hills they skip and run.
The children would go on to form a sun-worshipping death cult.
Bumblebee sings a noisy song as he gathers the pollen and flies along.
Not the me's! Little bee humor for you there.
But what I like best is to lie in the sun.
I gain my sustenance through photosynthesis, for I am plant boy.
The soft snowflakes quiet down and resting on the branches.
Golf ball size hail that your car insurance evidently doesn't cover.
A bright wool cap feels warm and nice when it's time to play in the snow and ice.
Yes, the world is full of hats.
But out of doors, baseball cap is not only for fun. It shields your eyes from the summer sun.
A red Yankees hat identifies you as a D-bag.
Sunshine. If you were to choose a hat to match your favorite kind of weather, which one would you choose?
A fez, because I like my weather round and worn by Shriners.
Another short to enter into the completely pointless category, this one gets a 2 out of 5.
A few scattered leaves on the branches remain. The thirsty trees are waiting for rain.
And your friendly narrator goes
Plants are
slowly
drooping,
insane.
The streams are dry.
Number 94, Building Better Paragraphs, from July 1st, 2010.
They got Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of the Marvel Universe?
Ah, Dr. Strange.
Purveyor of paragraphs? Yes!
Well, what do you know? A Coronet film that actually teaches the subject pretty well. In this installment of the seemingly infinite Coronet library, 3 children are trying to write an essay about a girl in their class and how her dog won a prize over the weekend. However, these kids have yet to learn how to string 2 sentences together in a coherent way.
It was Susan.
Suddenly!
She'd brought something to class. And do you know that was how we really began to learn how to write good paragraphs?
How could I know that?
This is what happened.
Why doesn't Susan write about her prize for the school paper?
What do you think, Susan?
Well...
I think Pugsley
Well,
here
would you
should keep
rather
his
have
nose
someone
out
else
of it.
write the story?
Oh, yes.
All right, then.
Coward.
But something was wrong with it. What was it?
The incredibly dull topic?
Doesn't sound right to me now.
Yes, Janet. What is it?
Can my pocket help?
Let me read you just one of the paragraphs you've written, and you try to imagine what each sentence tells.
Meanwhile, the other kids escape to recess and play Lord of the
Major,
Flies.
The judge gave Susan the prize Major had won.
She brought it to school like a freak.
He brought... How many main ideas should there be in a paragraph?
And more importantly, what's the big idea?
Well...
After their first failed attempt and some help from their teacher, the kids begin to fix their mistakes. The original draft jumped all over the place, but they learn how to stay on topic. Now, I don't necessarily love writing, but I do love when one of my college essays comes together well, and I think the short breaks it down pretty nicely, at least on the elementary school level they're going for.
What do we really want to tell about in this paragraph? About how well Major jumped over the hurdle. And that should be in the topic sentence.
And something about how much we hate Susan.
When we began to understand how to build good paragraphs.
Better paragraphs
When
were
they
still
started to
many
write
years
the story,
away.
They gathered just like having a lot of snapshots about the dog show.
Like these, taken and haphazardly
But
arranged on the wall
all
by
the
one of
snapshots
Susan's
are mixed
stalkers.
up. That's the way we begin working on most stories.
Our conventional approach fills
But
the
now
modernist
they want
writers
to
with
write
a deep
paragraph
malaise.
About this main. When they are sure they have all the
This one
information
sucks.
picked
This is
out
worse.
that relates to the main idea,
Worthless. Just screw the whole
ready
thing.
to arrange all how Major jumped the hurdle.
While praying, it appears.
So we have a clear idea of what happened.
Oh, this story's gonna break big,
That's
folks.
what Janet, Bill, and Charlie have been doing. Selecting and arranging the information for their paragraphs.
Damn it, Janet, Bill, and Charlie. I'm taking you off the
Done a
story.
good job.
Major jumped the hurdle even better than Susan had hoped he would.
Yes, run with it.
After we've
Copy.
written remember how confusing the paragraph was when it discussed several main ideas?
Remember how I told you it was confusing and you just laughed it off and said, it'll be fine, and then you started drawing a turtle on your notebook, and when I brought it up again, you didn't even answer? Do you remember that? Well, who's drawing a turtle on his notebook now, huh, smart guy?
The second last question is, does the concluding sentence finish the paragraph? Does it really complete the main idea?
No, but you complete me, narrator.
We have found and each of them was going to choose one main idea to write a paragraph about. Why don't you?
What? No.
Would you like to write a paragraph describing Major?
Not in the least.
This surprisingly helpful lesson gets a 2.5 out of 5.
Remember, poorly constructed paragraphs could cause accidental death or dismemberment.
If you encounter a clumsy topic sentence, do not attempt to fix it. Leave immediately and call your local bomb squad.
Paragraphs, dark agents of death.
Number 95. Are People All the Same? From July 5th, 2010.
These are some of the things that make us different from the birds and the beasts.
What about reptoids?
That's why humans are put in a single group. The human race.
Part of the Chubb group.
Did you know that everyone is different, but at the same time we all fit into certain groups just like everybody else? Did you find that rhetorical question confusing? Well, that's how this short is. They start off by defining what makes a human being, and then go on to say that we all fit in different groups.
What does the word race mean?
Johnny Quest's adult male pal.
It means ready, set, go. It means a horse race.
I have an addiction.
Race has another meaning, a different meaning.
A sexy meaning.
No, can't have horns.
He's a human, not a cosplay enthusiast.
What about legs? 2 legs, please, on the double.
So to be human is to be Charlie Brown.
Need some hair.
Back off! I'm working on it!
Sometimes it's also helpful to divide people into neighborhoods, states, and countries.
Now you're ready for wars.
There are, in the past, scientists and others have made attempts to group people according to qualities
grouping
like
people, yeah.
shade of
Dig that
color,
skin, groove that
kind
hair,
of
flipping
hair,
for the
shape of
nose, man.
etc. This idea of grouping has been called race.
Also called marketing.
None of these is often quite useful to group people, even to divide them into races, as long as we remember that no one group is any better than any other.
Except the Irish.
After that already odd little lesson, they keep going back and forth with the same points over and over again. They also insinuate that all strangers will look the exact same to us until we know them personally. And I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case at all.
Her great-grandparents were born in Japan.
They know Gamera personally.
This is Julia. Her family came from China a long time ago.
Tommy wants to conquer Julia.
Have you ever noticed, when people are strangers to you, they tend to look all the same?
It's true, like Harry Belafonte and Axl Rose.
If you haven't met very many children whose parents came from an Asian country, they may look alike to you.
Especially when they take
But
your
if you have
job.
friends who are Japanese American or Chinese American, or if you are Asian American, then you probably can see some differences.
Such as communism.
Let's see if once you get to know someone, they become special to you. And then you can't mistake them for anyone.
Soon their individual traits will start to grate on you like a bare ass on gravel.
There's no getting around the fact of our differences.
The best we can do is to
We're born
identify
with
them
skin
quickly and
color,
come up with
eye, and
demeaning
hair color
nicknames
that
based
don't
on them.
change. Some people grow to be very tall. Some people will always be short.
Tom Cruise.
No two people, and sometimes it helps to be very tall or very small.
Like microscopic.
For some jobs, it helps to have no fear of heights or a good ear for music.
Unlike this clown.
Much of what makes us different comes from our parents. They give us our names.
Our ridiculous foreign-y names.
And you are the only person who can decide what to do in your life.
Not valid in North Korea.
This confused and confusing short gets a 3 out of 5.
Damn it. Some sneaky ethnic person cut our power.
As always, thank you all so much for watching, and in case you didn't know, I just started my own Patreon campaign, and I want to give a special thanks to all my supporters, including Jill Johnson, for their generous donations, and I hope you'll check that out, and get excited, because we're coming up on the 20th episode of Every Rifftrax Short Reviewed, and the 100th Rifftrax Short. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.
It's time for Rifftrax.